Hello, welcome to the queue. We've got an unboxing of the new Stalingrad game from Axis and Allies, another campaign style game brought to you by Renegades Game Studios. Um, Good thing they kind of took over and gave us North Africa last year and then Stalingrad this year, and there's plans for another one coming up next year. So, um, good to hear and good to see. So this came today. Always good to see a new game in the mail. Um, I've already cut the plastic because I don't want to use the X-Acto knife while trying to film. That's always a bad plan. Um, Standard Axis and Allies rule book, and it is the same as every other Axis and Allies rule book you've ever seen. Uh, Comes with the diagrams, pictures, unit sculpts. Um, nice. A little bit of propaganda there for their new games, G.I. Joe. It's available now. There's probably some other games too that they've got listed there as well. Um, Moving on, we've got some reference charts. These are always really handy. One for the Axis, one for the Allies, which I guess really they could have been. Well, I guess it's only the Soviet Union, but the Axis does. They do actually have a minor country participation there. So, oh, each side is one. So the Allies on one side, Axis on the other. So that both players can have access to that data. Um, Here's the battle board. Interesting. Let me slide that over. Um, got a little bit of a glare there. Maybe I'll hold it up. Um, I do like the tiered battle board. Which is this? This one's the defender. So you've got a in supply, out of supply, um, defending a fortified zone, or assault across an unfrozen river. So that's a lot of interesting, different uh, values, for the specific units, and of course the attackers has a supplied and unsupplied, um, which I guess would be in and out of supply, same thing. I think I said it differently the first go around, but they actually call it supplied and unsupplied. So each unit, has a slight reduction, except air units. I think just looking at it, the air units are unchanged. Is that the way here on the defense? Looks that way. Yeah. Well, yeah. So they're all aircraft is undefend or unchanged by the supply factor. So, oh, now we've moved away from the box. We've got some setup charts. Oh, well, they come on a heavy duty. You got your setup chart for scenario 2 and scenario 1 here. So both the same for the Germans and the Soviets. A little bit different. Well, I guess because they would be in Stalingrad on the second um, scenario. The first scenario, they have to get to Stalingrad. We got some other interesting markers here. These here are ferries for different parts of the river. Unsupplied markers, unsupplied for the Soviets, and I'm guessing maybe when the river's frozen, it's the same thing. You just don't need the ferries. So that's kind of interesting. Assault markers, there was a whole spot on the battle board for assaults, so that changes your attack. No, it wasn't an attack, it was the defense value changes for the assaults. Supply markers, looks like some winter markers. We got a really bad glare there. Control markers and the back sides. They're all, well, you know what? I guess if it's not needing a control marker, it's Soviet. Captured. Operation Winter Storm. That might be something different. Oh, those assault markers have a battle symbol on the back there. So that's kind of interesting. All right, let's look at the map. 2 maps. I did see where there's, on the 2 maps, you've got a city map and the map of the countryside, as we make a big deal out of this while I'm trying to do this filming. All right, so naturally, no, we're not upside down. I thought for a second we were. All right, so we'll assume these are reinforcement zones for the Axis, all up in there. The Soviets have the same thing at the top of the map and down here on this side. I do notice not all the territories have values. It's basically these 4 across the river, and then these 3 along the side. Not sure, maybe that has to do with reinforcements that can come in on those values, because they don't have that circle, you know, around them like the other ones. Air bases. So that means something specific for the Air Forces. We'll see how restrictive they are. You know, like the planes have to leave and land back, or do they just get extra bonus? And then you have here the actual city of Stalingrad. Order cards, and that's interesting. Order cards. I wonder if that's kind of like the D-Day game. So the second map would actually be, and we'll try and do this left-handed. Wrong side. All right, I'm struggling. There we go. All right, so we'll flip that open. And the second one is the city map. I'll turn it so it actually looks the right direction. The city map, oh, that is pretty neat. Now, they do have a lot of values, point values. Not every hex, but a lot of the major ones. And they're all named after, like, the tractor factory, chemical factory, Pavlov's house. A lot of historical names there, the grain elevator. So that's interesting. Here across the bottom is the turn tracker. Boy, that's interesting. You can, I'm not sure what the cards mean. I guess you can create by turn 3 the opportunity for the Russians to counterattack, because by 7 it says that's the last round to launch the attack. So and then the weather really gets nasty here in January, which, you know, it did. So I really like this map. This is pretty cool. There's a lot to look at there. So let's grab the remaining box here, and I guess that's just packaging. Paper money. It's always good to have that, some sort of money source. I'll just use my, money chips that I have. There's the cards. We'll take a look at those and see what that might be. Russian units, German units, black. Well, that's interesting. The dice here, you've got black that matches the German, but instead of red for the other dice, it's the same color as the Russian sculpts. I don't know what you would call that, a dark maroon. That's really a neat idea. I like that. You got your chips, and you've got your Axis miners. And yeah, those are actually Italian infantry and artillery from the latest Europe game that you can put together with Pacific to play Global 40. So that's pretty cool. There are 2 new units, so I'm going to pull those out. Let's dump them out here on the board, and we'll see as I give a lot of dead screen there. All right, so this would be it right here. for the Germans. The Stug. It's really kind of hard to see since it's in black, the detail. But you can see it looks different than the Panzer IV, which actually looks like a new scope too. I'm trying to think of North Africa, if this is the scope they used for their Panzer IVs or not. But all these others, Henkel 111 there, are the same sculpts from the Europe game. So these are all, yeah, all those are the same. All right, so let's mechanize. All right, so let's look at the Soviet. They've got one new sculpt in there. And I'm assuming all these sculpts are the same as well. And yeah, the artillery, well, actually that's a US artillery. I don't think that's a Russian from that game. So that's different. There's the T-34, there it is, the Katushka rockets. You can kind of see the rockets on the back there. And, you know, a little truck, almost looks like a triangle. That's not too shabby. The T-34's mechanized. Infantry are the same, bombers, fighters. So pretty much the same. It's interesting that they use that US artillery sculpt, though, instead of the Russian one. But you know what? I think the Russian one is the same as the French one. So I don't know which one it really is in that Europe game. Is it a French sculpt that the Russians use, or is it a Russian sculpt that the French use? So that's interesting there. So that last thing to look at here is these order cards. So get them out of the packaging here. And optional rules and order cards. So you got actually, oh, it looks like another color. Operation Uranus. Okay. So you've got different cards for different things here. All right. So there's three kinds. So the Operation Uranus card looks like just a bunch of different reinforcement. So that must mean the reinforcements that you get to draw for, in addition to what you get. These are your order cards. Oh, I wonder if maybe this is the order of the turn. You do this, then you do that, then you do this. You just follow the track. Allies counter-offensive preparation. Yeah, so I'm guessing that's, you play it by the cards, and then when you get to the end here, end of round, so that would be turn one. That's one good way to make sure you do all your rules in order and complete them, actually, so not too bad. Optional rules. Okay, so heroes, that's interesting. Introduction and intercept. So those would be interesting to read through and see how that works. So pretty much looks like it's going to be a pretty cool campaign game. I have seen the HBG is working on a game similar. I don't think it's called Stalingrad. I'm trying to remember what the name of it is, but it's a similar. It's this same campaign, but I think it encompasses more scope than what is on these two maps. So it'll be interesting to see how close they are. Of course, I can't reveal any of that information, but so that's just for me to know right now. We will see. I think it looks like a pretty fun game. It'll be interesting to dig into the rule book and start moving on with a game, which, you know, might be this week, actually. Don't have a lot going on at this time. So maybe we'll knock out a game here by myself, see how things work. Might get a video back on that, some feedback after a playthrough. All right, thanks for watching this unboxing. And if you've ordered your copy of Stalingrad, hopefully that arrives soon.